Tom Cruise returns for another outing in this long-standing franchise. So does this latest entry live up to the high expectations set by the previous movies? Stay tuned to find out. The plot is a relatively simple one, albeit a relevant one in the world we live in today. It involves Ethan Hunt and his team's attempts to track down a dangerous artificial intelligence weapon before it falls into the hands of the enemy. Despite the simplicity of the story, the movie surprisingly leans more into the dialogue-driven scenes than it does towards the set pieces. That's not to say that the movie doesn't contain any action, which I'll come to shortly, but director and co-writer Christopher McQuarrie inserts scenes throughout the movie where characters discuss the implications of this AI weapon and the consequences if this were to be misused in any way. While I do appreciate that the script is trying to bring in thought-provoking concepts of technology into the story, the movie could have added another set piece or two and do so without damaging the integrity of the story's key themes and messages. Christopher McQuarrie returns to the director's chair, having previously directed Fallout and Rogue Nation. He brings the same level of competence and skill when it comes to staging action as he did with his previous entries. McQuarrie, along with Cruise and the production team, ensure that the action is clearly framed, while also not being afraid to add shaky cam footage and quick cuts in between the action to add to the action's frenetic nature. The movie is also paced fairly well, as it confidently moves from one set piece to the next. However, I did feel that the movie was a little slow to get going, as it surprisingly opted for more dialogue scenes towards the beginning. Though I did appreciate that various characters need to set up the plot through exposition, these early scenes didn't do much for me to add any tension for the plot. Tom Cruise once again delivers another standout performance as Ethan Hunt. He continues to prove why he's one of Hollywood's most prized treasures, as he throws himself into the deep end when it comes to the action. What often isn't talked about with Cruise is his ability to deliver a great acting performance, as he brings menace, wit, and charm to all of his dialogue scenes. Newcomer Hayley Atwell is fantastic as Grace. She shares great chemistry with Cruise, as she brings sass, humour, and charisma in her performance. The rest of the cast all turn in good performances, including the likes of Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, and Vanessa Kirby. Lorne Balfe returns to scoring duties from Fallout, much to my dismay. What I mean by this is that I wasn't a fan of Fallout's soundtrack. It resorted to a series of loud noises and sounds, carrying none of the symphonic weight and variety that composers Michael Giacchino or Joe Kramer previously brought to the franchise. Unfortunately, the loud effects that Balfe delivered in Fallout unfortunately return here in this movie. The main theme is only surprisingly heard once outside of the opening credits, which is a shame, as previous composers in this franchise have been able to create a lot of creative musical motifs out of this theme. Nevertheless, the music didn't detract from my overall experience of this movie, though it's somewhat sad how the score, as it seems to be the case with most movies nowadays, is an afterthought with little to no care put into its placement within the movie. Mission Impossible is one of the few franchises today that prides itself on giving audiences top-of-the-line entertainment, and Dead Reckoning Part 1 continues this trend. From the skillful direction and action helmed by Christopher McQuarrie, the timely theme of the dangers of AI within the story, and top acting performances from Cruise & Co., this entry proves to be a worthwhile addition to the Mission Impossible franchise. Despite some pacing issues during the first act and a generic soundtrack, I'm going to give Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 a 7 out of 10. So I now hand it over to you, as I want to find out your thoughts on the movie. Did you enjoy this movie, and where does it rank for you in the franchise so far, as I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.